If you've ever searched for what's the best gaming PC, how much RAM do I need, or should I buy Intel or AMD, you've probably noticed something frustrating. Every video gives you a different answer. One person says you need 64 gigabytes of RAM, another says 16 gigabytes is plenty. One claims Intel is dead, another says AMD is overrated. After an hour of watching, you're more confused than when you started. Today, we're going to fix that. By the end of this guide, you'll understand how every major part of a PC works, how they all fit together, how to choose the right components, how to avoid wasting hundreds of dollars, and most importantly, you'll never need another beginner PC guide again. Whether you're building your first computer, buying a gaming PC, upgrading an old machine, or just curious about how computers really work, this guide will teach you everything in the simplest way possible. No complicated engineering, no confusing jargon, just clear explanations that make sense. So let's start with the biggest mistake almost everyone makes. Step 1. Stop thinking of a PC as one machine. Most beginners think a computer is a single thing. It's not. A computer is actually a team. Think of a football team. You don't win with 11 goalkeepers or 11 strikers. Every player has a specific job, and a PC works exactly the same way. Each component has one main responsibility. If one part is weak, the whole system slows down. If one part is way more powerful than the rest, you've probably wasted money. Your goal isn't to buy the most expensive parts, but to build the most balanced system. That's the secret professionals use. Now let's meet each player on your team. Step 2. Meet the brain, the CPU. The CPU, or processor, is the brain of your computer. Every click, every calculation, every instruction starts here. Opening Chrome, that's the CPU. Launching a game, CPU. Exporting a video, CPU. Installing Windows, CPU. Without it, nothing happens. Imagine a restaurant. Customers place orders, and the chef decides what to cook first. The CPU is that chef. It receives thousands, even millions of instructions every second and tells every other component what to do. Here's something beginners often misunderstand. A more expensive CPU doesn't automatically make your games look better. It mainly makes your computer think faster. Games with lots of AI, simulation games, strategy games, video editing, 3D rendering, and programming all rely heavily on the processor. That's why someone editing 8K video might spend more on their CPU than on their graphics card. But if you're mostly gaming, the CPU is only half the story because there's another component doing something completely different. Step 3. The artist. The GPU. The GPU, or graphics processing unit, is the artist. The CPU tells the game, there should be a tree here, there's a car over there, the enemy is behind that wall. Then the GPU takes all that information and draws the final image, up to hundreds of times per second. That's why gamers care so much about graphics cards. Higher FPS, better graphics, ray tracing, DLSS, 4K gaming, ultra settings, almost all of that depends on your GPU. A simple analogy: the CPU writes the movie script and the GPU turns it into the actual movie. Without a good graphics card, the movie won't look impressive. Now, here's where people waste money. Some buy a $2,000 graphics card and pair it with a 5-year-old processor. Others do the opposite. They buy the fastest CPU available and combine it with a cheap graphics card. Both are mistakes because your PC is only as fast as its slowest key component. Step 4. Memory that never sleeps. RAM. RAM is probably the most misunderstood component. Many people think more RAM equals a faster PC, but that's not exactly true. RAM is temporary memory. Imagine you're doing homework. Your desk is RAM, the drawer next to you is your SSD, and the bookshelf across the room is cloud storage. The bigger your desk, the more books, papers, and notebooks you can have open at once. But a bigger desk doesn't make you smarter, it just gives you more room to work. That's exactly what RAM does. If you only browse YouTube, check emails, and watch Netflix, 16 gigabytes is usually enough. If you're gaming while Discord, Spotify, Chrome, OBS, and 10 browser tabs are open, 32 gigabytes starts making a lot of sense. If you're editing huge videos, working in Blender, using virtual machines, or training AI models, 64 gigabytes or more can actually be helpful. The important thing is to buy enough RAM for your needs, not the biggest number you can afford. Unused RAM does absolutely nothing for performance. Step 5. The motherboard. The part nobody talks about. Now let's move on to one of the least exciting but most important parts of every computer: The motherboard. Most beginners think the motherboard makes their PC faster. It doesn't. Think of it like a city. The CPU is the mayor, the GPU is the factory, RAM is the office, and storage is the warehouse. The motherboard is every road connecting them together. Without roads, nothing can move. Every component plugs into the motherboard. It allows them to communicate, delivers power, transfers data, and controls connections. Everything happens here. That's why choosing the right motherboard matters. Not because it'll magically increase your FPS, but because it determines what your computer can support. For example, maybe you want faster DDR5 memory, multiple SSDs, or the ability to upgrade your processor in 2 years. Your motherboard decides whether that's possible. Here's a mistake thousands of beginners make. They spend half their budget on the graphics card and then buy the absolute cheapest motherboard they can find. Sure, the PC still turns on, but later they realize they don't have enough USB ports. Their RAM can't run at full speed. They only have one SSD slot, or they can't upgrade to a newer processor. The motherboard isn't the star of the build, it's the foundation. And every strong house starts with a solid foundation. Step 6. Storage, where your life lives. Now let's talk about something every computer needs: storage. This is where everything lives. Windows, games, photos, videos, homework, projects, everything. Without storage, your PC forgets everything every time you turn it off. Today, you'll mainly see two options: hard drives and SSDs. If you've ever used an old computer that needed 3 minutes just to open Windows, it probably had a hard drive. Hard drives store data on spinning metal disks. They're cheap and offer lots of storage, but they're slow. Very slow. SSDs have no moving parts. Everything happens electronically. That means Windows starts faster, games load faster, programs open faster, file transfers finish faster, and even browsing your computer feels smoother. Imagine two libraries. In one, an employee walks through thousands of shelves every time you ask for a book. In the other, a robot delivers the same book instantly. Both libraries work, but one is simply much faster. That's the difference between HDDs and SSDs. Today, if your budget allows it, always install Windows on an SSD. It's probably the single biggest upgrade you can make to an older computer. Step 7. Why your power supply can save or destroy your PC. Now we reach the part almost nobody gets excited about: the power supply, also called the PSU. It doesn't increase FPS, make games prettier, or load Windows faster. So many beginners think, I'll just buy the cheapest one. That's one of the worst decisions you can make. Think about your own body. Your heart doesn't make you smarter or stronger, but if your heart stops working, everything stops. The power supply is your PC's heart. Its only job is delivering stable electricity every second, every minute, every day. A bad power supply can randomly restart your computer, cause crashes, damage expensive components, or completely fail after a few months. Imagine spending $2,000 building your dream PC, only to destroy it because you wanted to save $40 on the power supply. Not a great deal. Always choose a trusted brand. Make sure it has enough wattage and leave extra room for future upgrades. Your future self will thank you.